Hey guys, what is up? Shadolance back for another review. Today I'm going to be doing the Scar-L Trispear for the second time. My last review was horribly outdated, and it definitely needed an update. The last time I did a review, I don't even think it was... Well, I don't think they had the Gun Emporium out yet, so it wasn't customizable. And it wasn't as good. Now it's customizable, and now it's good. So, honestly, this is one of my favorite weapons. It's not an OP weapon. It's like a very, very average, probably one of the most balanced weapons in the entire game. It's a ton of fun to use. Love it. It's good with pretty much any kind of scope. It's a very average assault rifle. I like it most with the reflex scope, but it's very usable with the ACOG scope and the other NX variant of the ACOG scope, whatever the crap it's called. So, yeah, it's just really, really useful in general. It has a burst mode and a fully automatic mode, which is really, really nice. I typically live with the automatic, but the burst fire is actually incredibly useful at longer ranges, especially when you don't have a scope on. It makes it really useful for tapping and stuff, so that's really nice. One thing that's very nice about the Scar-L Trispear is that the spread does not jump up very quickly. If you want an example of really quick spread jump up, the MK14 Mod 0 is a good example, so is the AK series, pretty much every AK series model. The 103 models are better than the others, but obviously that's still pretty bad. So yeah. Basically, it has a very, very low damage drop-off, so you're going to be doing a lot of damage at maximum range, and the base damage is 40, and that's upgradable to 43. You can customize that. 43 is very, 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 very high for any kind of assault rifle. The SOP mod and the M416 CQB typically go around 43, 44, so that's very, very powerful. I would highly suggest you put an S3 suppressor on it if you're trying to use it for short, close-range maps. You don't want to be letting your enemies know that you're around, and the flash definitely helps. So... And the recoil, I mean, you could put an S1 suppressor on this, but then it's really going to screw with the recoil and scope. So unless you're planning on relying on burst mode a lot, or you're planning on relying with not using scopes much, then you probably want to stick with an S3. Although the gun is still totally fine without a suppressor, and I'm using it without a suppressor in this review, mostly for the point of showing you guys the damage. But as you guys can see, it is completely great for getting accolades. Extended magazine 1 is probably what I would suggest if you had to put an extended magazine. And as far as a scope, I prefer the iTech reflex scopes more, but... you know, ACOG works fine too. It's a great gun for tapping and spraying. Hopping into the rest of the stats, we see a damage of 40, a portability of 57, rate of fire of 70, accuracy of 85, and recoil of 66. So rate of fire of 70 is pretty low compared to most modern-day assault rifles. We're typically seeing stuff between 70 and 77 when customized, or that kind of stuff, like the SOP mod and the M4A1 series typically get up to like 77 and such. The lower end being 74-ish, which is still pretty high for an assault rifle. But so 70 is a bit on the low side, although it is upgradable to 73 to match most modern day rifles that we see in. When I say modern day, I mean modern day in like combat arms, not modern day in real life, because obviously this is already still a very modern rifle. But anyway, going back to the actual gun, accuracy is 85, so pretty high on the accuracy. You can tap fire very accurately at long ranges. Pretty much anything above 80 can do that, and 85 is well above that. Usually see between an 80 and like a 87-ish accuracy for most assault rifles, so this is pretty good. The G36 obviously is an exception to that rule, but that's still kind of the whole point. Recoil of 66, it seems kind of high, but it's very, very manageable. Usually you see like a 62 to 66, 7, sometimes 8 recoil on assault rifles, so 66 is leaning towards the higher side, but it's completely manageable. The spread pattern is kind of... The recoil pattern is kind of weird. It feels like it's what most assault rifles should have in this game, but don't have. It really, really reminds me a lot of what the Call of Duty recoils feel like, which is maybe one of the reasons I like this gun. But it is one of the oldest guns in combat arms, so keep in mind it's not one of the most recent ones. But you can tap fire this gun really, really quickly, and you can control that recoil pattern. So, yeah. In real life, it's known as the FN Scar. It's modeled... I forget which one it is. It's either the FAL is modeled off of the Scar is modeled off of the FAL. I forget which one is which. I don't really remember. I'm talking about the interior mechanics, by the way, just so you know. As far as how I would use the gun, I would put an extended magazine 1 on, maybe an S3 suppressor, depending on the map, and... an iTech scope, and that's what I would do. I would also customize this for everything except the recoil. I don't believe the 85 accuracy needs to go up to 88, so the rate of fire going to 73 and the damage of 40 going to 43 would be very, very nice to have just as a default. Now, most people compare this series to the ACR series. They perform very, very similarly, and because this is the NX standard, I'm going to be comparing it to the ACR Sandfire, although people tend to say the ACR Sandfire is worse than the actual Scar-L, even the basic one. So... the ACR has a base damage of 40, same as the Scar-L Trispear. Portability of 66, also the same. Rate of fire of 74, which is 4 points base higher than the Scar-L Trispear, 1 point higher if the Trispear is customized. accuracy of 82 is 3 points below the Scar L Trispear, and the recoil is 63, which is 3 points below the Scar L Trispear as well. However, the ACR Sandfire has a much worse recoil pattern, although it's still kind of that same. It looks similar, but the pattern is different, and it does affect quite a bit. The recoil in the ACR does feel heftier to most players, including me. Also, I do find the Scar L Trispear much easier to tap with either kind of scope, so that's just my personal preference. Most people don't like the ACR Sandfire in general. It's probably one of the most underused guns in the entire game for a reason. It's just kind of crap. The reload and spread recovery, is a little tiny bit below average on the Scar L Trispear, but it's not really noticeable enough to make the gun unusable. The low recoil and the slow rate of it going up in general is pretty fine, so you should be able to control and get your shots in as accurately as you really need to, so you should be fine for the most part. Not really a whole lot else to say. I just got gangbanged by 4 people right there. Other variants include the Scar L Black, the Scar H, and the Scar L. Scar L Black is possibly the most widely used variant because it's available for GP, and it is better than the regular Scar L, so that's what most people tend to find anyway. Pretty much, if I would say the Scar L Trispear is a great gun to get to know the game with. If you can get really good at the Scar L Trispear, you can be fine with most standard type assault rifles. I'm not counting the G36 as standard type assault rifle. I do count the M416 a standard type assault rifle. It just has very low recoil. So if you can master the Scar L Trispear or the Scar L series in general, you're pretty much set for the game. You can cover most of it because the recoil is just high enough that it can really help you get used to the higher recoil guns, unlike the, well, excluding the AK series. And it's low enough, and the damage is, it's just such a balanced gun. It can teach you all the aspects of the game just using this weapon, and that includes the GP variant too. The GP variant can do the same thing, so you don't need to go buy this gun just to master the game. I'm not saying buy this gun and you'll be the greatest player in the world. No, that's what's happening if you buy an L9 and you get good with that. Then you'll be the greatest player in the world. But yeah, at any rate, I wouldn't say it's that big of a deal. You guys should be able to do pretty well with this gun. I wouldn't say you should buy it if you're not a collector. I like this gun because it's fun to use for me. It's not that I would ever use it in competitive gameplay, but I find the gun fun, and that's what I enjoy most about it. So it's more of a collector's thing than an actual, like, you should go spend money on this kind of thing. You see UCD use the basic GP Scar L a lot. But that's about all the time I have for a review today, guys. Thank you for watching. Thank you for putting up with my really dry voice today, because it's really not very good. Really sorry about that. I've been out playing tennis, so I'm kind of like dead. But other than that, guys, thank you for watching. Please rate, comment, subscribe. I've had a huge increase in subscribers recently, which is really, really nice. I like that a lot. Thank you guys for your support, and please keep watching videos. Recommend me to your friends. That's the biggest compliment you can give me. See you guys in the next review. Shadolance out.